A $500,000 home sale generates around $15,000 in commission. The agent who worked that deal might keep anywhere from half of it to nearly all of it, depending entirely on which brokerage they hang their license with. And here's the part that surprises almost everyone. The brokerage itself often makes very little, sometimes nothing at all, directly from that single sale. Before you open a real estate brokerage, let me tell you something. You are not really in the business of selling houses. You never touch a single closing yourself if you don't want to. You are in the business of recruiting and keeping talented agents who could, at any moment, walk their license across the street to a brokerage offering a better split. That is the economics of the real estate brokerage business. And by the time this is over, you are going to understand exactly why. Let me make it clear, when you open a brokerage, you are not opening a real estate sales company. You are opening a licensing and infrastructure platform that independent contractors pay to operate under. Your agents aren't employees in the traditional sense. They're self-employed professionals who could leave for a competitor at any time, and your entire revenue model depends on convincing enough of them to stay, close deals, and share a piece of their commission with you in exchange for your brand, your training, your lead flow, or simply your low fees. And you can't just open one. You must personally hold an active broker license, which requires real experience as a licensed agent first, plus a separate broker qualifying course and exam. This isn't a business you can buy your way into with capital alone. You have to have actually done the underlying job before you're allowed to build a company around managing the people who do it. Here is where the range is enormous, because real estate brokerage describes several genuinely different business models. At the very lean end, a home or cloud-based brokerage can launch for roughly $10,000 to $25,000. A branded office with actual staff and a physical presence typically runs $50,000 or more just to get the doors open. A more fully modeled brokerage, one built to actually fund a real first year of operations, commonly needs around $44,000 in upfront capital expenditure, but the real number that matters is the cash reserve behind it. Financial models built around a realistic first year of hiring an agent growth call for as much as several $100,000 to $1 million in available cash, because commission income arrives irregularly, and payroll for any staff you do hire does not. Here's the part that catches almost every first-time broker owner off guard. Your biggest cost isn't office space or licensing fees. It's the fact that a real, fundable business model needs 6 to 12 months of operating expenses sitting in reserve before you open, because your revenue depends entirely on when your agents happen to close deals, and that timing is completely outside your control. Let's say you've solved the big problems: licensed, office running, agents onboarded. Now let's talk about what it costs every month, regardless of how many deals close. Recurring costs include E&O insurance, MLS and association dues, brokerage management software, marketing and accounting, and fixed monthly overhead, before variable costs commonly runs in the low thousands of dollars, even for a lean operation. As sponsored agents grow, most brokerages hire their first support staff. Typically a transaction coordinator, an office manager, and a bookkeeper, somewhere around 8 to 12 active agents, and payroll for those roles becomes a genuine fixed cost layered on top of everything else. And this is the part that quietly separates the brokerages that make it from the ones that don't. Because commission income is irregular by nature, a brokerage with steady fixed costs and unpredictable revenue timing needs real cash discipline, not just a good agent roster, to survive the gap between a strong month and a slow one. Here is where the real estate brokerage business gets genuinely interesting, because unlike almost every other business in this series, the product you're actually selling isn't a service to the public. It's a deal you're offering to agents, and your biggest competitor for that deal is every other brokerage in your market. Traditional splits, 50-50 being common at high support, lead-generating brokerages, maximize how much the brokerage keeps per transaction. But that same structure is exactly what pushes productive agents toward competitors offering cap-based or 100% commission models instead. A cap-based structure, 60-40 below a certain commission threshold, then effectively 100% above it, balances brokerage revenue against agent retention. A pure 100% commission model, flat per transaction and monthly fees instead of any split at all, optimizes almost entirely for keeping high-producing agents at the direct cost of the brokerage's own revenue per deal. Here's the number that changes everything. Buyers evaluating brokerages for acquisition now treat commission split structure as a direct predictor of agent retention 24 to 36 months out. A brokerage running a traditional 50-50 split that isn't bleeding agents has proven it offers something genuinely valuable enough: training, lead flow, brand, to justify keeping less per deal than a competitor down the street. A brokerage running that same split while quietly losing its best producers to 100% commission competitors isn't really a real estate company anymore. It's a company slowly losing the only asset that ever generated its revenue in the first place. There are really two types of people who end up owning real estate brokerages, and their businesses look almost nothing alike. The first is the split model traditionalist, someone running a 50-50 or similar percentage-based split, funding real services, in-house training, lead generation, mentorship, marketing support, in exchange for keeping a meaningful share of every commission. This owner has a much higher revenue ceiling per agent, but is constantly at risk of losing productive agents the moment a leaner competitor makes a more attractive offer. The second is the volume model operator, someone running a cap-based or 100% commission structure, funded by flat fees and thin per-transaction margins across a much larger roster of agents instead of a large cut of a smaller one. This owner's revenue per agent is dramatically lower, but their retention is structurally stronger because there's very little financial reason for a productive agent to ever leave. Let's run the numbers on a lean, cloud-based brokerage launched for $20,000, running a traditional 50-50 split with 15 agents. The optimistic scenario: your 15 agents close a combined 75 transactions in year one, generating $510,000 in gross commission income. Your 50% share is $255,000. After E&O insurance, MLS dues, software, and the wages of your first support hire, your fixed costs run around $90,000 for the year, leaving you with roughly $165,000 in net income. Your $20,000 startup investment pays back within the first few months of a strong year. The realistic scenario: 8 months in, your two highest producing agents, together responsible for nearly a third of your total commission volume, get recruited by a 100% commission brokerage offering a flat monthly fee instead of your 50-50 split. They leave, taking their active listings and pipeline with them. Your remaining agents close 50 transactions instead of 75, generating $340,000 in gross commission income. Your 50% share drops to $170,000, and after the same $90,000 in fixed costs, your net income falls to $80,000, roughly half of what you'd modeled. The difference between those two outcomes isn't your license, your office, or your marketing budget. It's whether your split structure gave your best agents a reason to stay before a competitor gave them a reason to leave. Owning a real estate brokerage is not a business built around selling houses. It's a business built around convincing talented, mobile, independent professionals to keep operating under your license instead of someone else's, in an industry where the commission structure itself is under real, ongoing pressure from both competitors and regulation. The $20,000 lean cloud brokerage and the near $1 million fully staffed operation are the same business wearing different clothes. A bet that your split, your support, and your brand give agents enough reason to stay that you never have to find out how much of your revenue was actually theirs to take with them the whole time. For the owner who treats agent retention as the entire product, not a side effect of running a good brokerage, this can be one of the more scalable people businesses in this series. For the owner who assumes a license and an office are the business, it's an expensive way to discover that the only asset that ever generated a single dollar of revenue was never really yours to begin with.